Hi, I'm Anatole, and this is my reaction video to Dark Season 2, Episode 6, titled An Endless Cycle. It received a score of, I think it's 9.6. It is 9.6 on imdb.com, and that's what they vote, vote count of about 5,700 votes. So that is an outstanding score, given the amount of votes that have been placed on that particular episode. And so, if this is your first time watching me, my normal method is I'm going to watch this for a pure reaction. This will be my first time watching it. Then when the recording finishes at the end of the episode, off camera, I'll watch it 2 or 3 more times. I'll watch criticism. I'll read some commentary if I can find any. Unfortunately, it's very hard to find any critical commentary on this show in English. It's kind of very difficult for me to compile thoughts of others because there isn't a lot, unfortunately. It's such a great show. And then I come back, and at the end, after you finish watching me react to the video, I'll do a 5-10 minute review of the episode after I've watched it 2 or 3 times, and I can kind of compose my thoughts on the episode. Unfortunately, Netflix placed a spoiler image at the very beginning of this episode, so I've already seen something I cannot unsee. So I have, unfortunately, one surprise of the episode was already spoiled for me by Netflix at the very beginning of the episode. I don't read, you can see the plot summary kind of there. I never read that, but there's usually a thumbnail image right there, and the thumbnail image they placed for this episode, I'm certain, 100% spoiled something for me. So other than that, I don't have any idea what's going to happen in the episode. So, without any further ado, join me after the intro when I will give my pure reaction to Dark Season 2, Episode 6, titled An Endless Cycle. I think it's the best view we've ever gotten of his, what is that called? It's called, I know the name of it, give me 1 second. Sociogram. Oh, cool, it's going in reverse. Kind of neat. Alright, so where are you going with this? So the guess is we're going to meet MacLeod. That Jonas is going to go back and meet MacLeod here. Yeah, have we seen any sort of morgue scene yet? Because apparently everything that was in the intro for the first season somehow showed up in an episode. And I'm imagining the same is true for season 2. I've only been waiting 2 seasons to actually have a line of dialogue. You know something, that's the look of knowing. Oh, happier times. This kind of feels like when we saw MacLeod go back to the 50s for the first time. There's a couple that relations were improved by the disappearance of the children, ironically. Yeah, it's a pretty gnarly looking scar. If you guys only knew what I know. Now, I'll look this up later. Wasn't Ariadne the woman that was turned into the spider by Zeus? So you're going to give her a hint? Say something that she won't understand till much later? So this is the first time she's seeing MacLeod? Now, if I were Michael, I wouldn't be sweating this out because he knows his own past, and he knows if he meets himself or not. Since if we're going to go by history or the time being set, if he meets himself here, he'd already know that he meets himself. Well, if you're trying to avoid yourself, you're doing a pretty poor job. Alright, all we need now is Jonas of 2 different timelines for a perfect quadrifecta. Trifecta, quadfecta. Quintella. Caca, caca, caca. I'm having difficulty remembering if these relationships were formed already. If Bartosz and Marta were already together when Jonas kissed her there. I assumed they were. We know how this is going to play out. By trying to make it not happen, he's going to be the one that makes it happen, of course. And Adam sent him here because Adam knows by Jonas trying to intervene, that's going to be what causes everything to happen. Dum dum dum. Yeah, of course. I'm your mom. Of course I can do that. Come on, you can do it. You're his mom. Of course you're going to say yes.
Hast du den Brief schon geschrieben?
What letter? Yep, thump thump thump. You're telling him everything he's going to do. Show him the letter so he knows what to write. So Jonas, just like Ulrich earlier in season 1, he's just going to mess everything up and make things happen. He's trying to make stop happen. Make stop from happening. So my idea that this was not a deterministic show, it's very questionable now. Maybe it is. At least they're playing it very close to the vest, whether the show creators are, whether it really is deterministic or if there is free will. And so her kissing him gives him that idea that later he comes back in time to kiss her. Endless loop. Oh, this is something we never knew. That's not what it's expecting to hear, not what I was expecting to hear. So he sends him back in time in order to be his father. Oh, whoa, was not expecting this. How did she see the world without Jonas? Now, if someone were good, would they say it? Would they ask for that sacrifice? Because wasn't there a hint that she had turned at some point? It's hard to tell if this show is being upfront. If the good people that appear to be good are really good, and the people who are bad appear to be bad. Because so far we haven't seen any flip where someone appeared to be bad but was really good. We haven't seen that yet. We've seen people who aren't who they appear to be, but we haven't seen anyone whose moral inclination was opposite of what we assumed theirs to be, their inclination to be.
Wir sind Wanderer in der Dunkelheit.
So I guess that's supposed to be proof that really is Jonas. For the people doubting whether Adam was Jonas.
Müssen Opfer bringen, Magnus.
Dum dum dum. Well, definitely some food for thought there. Please join me in a second. I'm going to off camera watch this a couple times, and then come back with my review. Welcome back, and now I'm going to give my review on Dark Season 2, Episode 6, titled An Endless Cycle. There are a couple points I want to address. First, I want to talk about how I really like that this is a character development episode. Its intention is to show us the meeting between Jonas and Michael. But really, because that is such a small part of the episode, most of it is giving us scenes of the characters before the death, before the suicide of Michael. And this is the kind of episode that would never be possible in a feature film. And I know that sounds a little contradictory since a feature film doesn't have episodes, but this sort of long aside would never happen in a feature film. In a feature film, economy is key in storytelling, and so anything that doesn't contribute to the advancement of the plot gets weeded out, either through the writing of the script or through the editing. And one advantage that television has over movies, and it's not only television, you can get these long asides in a comic book or even more so in a novel. But definitely, and in television, you can afford to spend an hour invested in characters and showing us a flashback, essentially an hour-long flashback that you would never be able to do in film. And so I really like that. But it's not a simple flashback. So the showrunners use this opportunity to create echoes within the story. And there's something that was pointed out on Reddit, and that is that the scene that we saw in the first season flashback to 1986 between Hannah and Ulrich is echoed here. And that's why I have this screenshot of Hannah and Ulrich here at the swings. When we see young Hannah and older Ulrich on the swings, the conversation they have is exactly repeated, at least part of it is repeated between them here. And so I thought that was a nice touch of the filmmakers to call back that scene. And then something else I wanted to point out is that another aspect of the show is the way that it's using symbolism within the series. There was, and it's not overbearing. Not like this is not a Damon Lindelof production, for example. Since I just completed my reaction video to The Watchmen, which is riddled with Easter eggs and references to other works, which I thought aided that show. It recalls the source material. The graphic novel Watchmen does the same thing. But there are a few here. There was one to Goethe in season 1, and in this episode, there is the reference to Ariadne. So during my reaction to it, I made the mistake of thinking that Ariadne was the one turned into the spider by Zeus. And I'm pretty sure that in my editing I put a text correction that Ariadne was the one that led Perseus helped Perseus slay the Minotaur and led him out of the maze, out of the labyrinth. Is it Perseus? I can't remember if it's Perseus. But the labyrinth is also an analog for winden, which is German for winding. And all this talk of determinism and free will, where fate seems to be leading these characters through different time periods, and there is only one true exit, and that's through the reset that Adam seems to be aiming for, the last cycle. That is an analog to finding the one true path out of the labyrinth. And the labyrinth is also an ancient symbol for life. And the exit of the labyrinth is through death, through the other world. And then something else that was pointed out on Reddit, and this connects to the story of Ariadne and the labyrinth, is the role of Marta, and where she could be playing the same role for Jonas, and that is leading him through the labyrinth and showing him the true exit through this winding madness that is Winden. And speaking of, in keeping with Marta, there is, Bartas talks about the story of a drowned girl in the lake. And later, Jonas finds a ring. I can't help believe that ring was left there, as they said, and Marta says, oh, it looks like this ring has been here for a long time. I can't help believe that that's more time shenanigans, that someone left that there so that Jonas would find it. Either it was Marta or Jonas. And then speaking of the drowned woman, we get the hint that maybe it's Francesca, but it could also, that just becomes a drowned woman, but it could also quite easily be Marta who's the drowned woman, because another reference that is made within the series is to that of the Scottish play, the play of Shakespeare, of whose name I'm not going to say, just out of the superstition that it's bad luck to say the name of that play. You can look it up, the Scottish play. And there's another Shakespeare play, and that is Hamlet. And in that play, Ophelia drowns herself, and that's the only way she can escape the madness that is her relationship with Hamlet. And so we are given the foreshadowing that maybe one of our heroines, Francesca or Marta, becomes that drowned woman, and that perhaps one of them, I would think it would be Marta, leaves the ring. However, there is reason to believe that it could be Francesca, because we see her and Magnus earlier in the episode in the 1918? Oh, I forget that time. That's just, okay, so it's 33 minus 1953 would be 1920, 1921. I can't remember what time that is, but because we see Francesca there, maybe she's the one who brought the ring, or she could have had a violent altercation with Marta, and Marta could be the one who lies at the bottom of the lake, and Marta would be the one who had left the ring for Jonas to find. So quite interesting the way that the echoes between the past and are in present, the different timelines are used. Oh yes, there was one more thing I wanted to point out. I was about to wind it up there, about to wind it up. And that is the idea that maybe there's going to be a multiverse at play here, because Jonas is stopped from not urging Michael or not allowing Michael to commit suicide. He is stopped by Claudia, because Claudia says she has seen a world or a timeline where Jonas doesn't die, and it's not what he would think. She doesn't say it's bad, actually. She doesn't explicitly say it's bad. She says it's not what you would think it would be. But so how did she see this alternate timeline unless there is a multiverse? So that would be the one way of escaping this deterministic universe. And I have begun to question, I had thought that the filmmakers were not nihilistic, they were moralistic, but it's very hard to be moral in a determined universe unless you have a belief in God. And God is the one who redeems your actions through your accepting of his decisions. Even if you have no free will of your own, you still have the mental choice to accept God or not accept God and the way that he's planned things out for you. And I'm not quite sure that the filmmakers are giving us a theistic universe, and I doubt that it's going to be a nihilistic, so I don't really know what options are left unless we get a multiverse, which would create the possibility for choice for these heroes who seem to be trapped within the labyrinth to find escape through another universe somehow. And those are my thoughts on this episode of Dark Season 2, Episode 6, titled An Endless Cycle. Please join me again for my next reaction to Episode 7 of Dark. Until next time, be well and take care. Goodbye.